Okay, we are live, everybody. My name is Bahzad.
My name is Risa.
And we are broadcasting live from Yokohama, Japan, to bring to you the weekly Wonder Looper live stream, the greatest live stream in the history of the universe. Ours and all of them combined. It is Saturday, June 14th here in Japan, Friday, the 13th for many of you out there in the West. A spooky day indeed. Welcome to the stream, everyone. And we'll give the room a moment to populate here. But it's good to see a lot of familiar faces here in the chat. Let us know where you are tuning in from all around the world. And, we got a lot of fun topics to talk about today. And we've got some questions from the Instagram world, so we're going to be handling some of those. We've got some updates on just our move in general. We're going to be talking about updated packaging. So we
have a couple of new movements in the works.
Couple of new movements, and of course we're going to be answering your questions here live in the chat. So everybody, before we get started, hit the like button as you enter. When you come in, it's like coming into a Japanese home. You take off your shoes, but instead here, you just hit the little like button, and that makes everything okay. Right? Okay, so let's do it. We've got Jason, Scott. Hope the move is going well. Looking forward to catching up with all the news in the morning. Hit that like button. He's tuning in from the UK. And we've got Shane Style Morning, B&R, checking in from a cold, wintry Sydney, 7 degrees Celsius. It's that's chilly weather indeed. It's great for a double heavyweight. It's great for double Naked Famous Elephant Denim and double heavyweight tee. Also wearing a Uniqlo cashmere until I can afford that Wonder Looper cashmere. Don't you worry, that Wonder Looper cashmere is coming real soon. We've got that cashmere Henley coming up this fall. BD says might try to tune in sometime during the stream. If I'm not here at the start, good evening to everyone. Well, thank you, Mr. Producer. I'm sure we'll see your face here in a few moments. Solvent is here from Scotland, wearing all 21-ounce Iron Heart tuxedo today and a Wonder Looper t-shirt. That is a heavyweight, heavy-duty outfit indeed. I don't think it's that cold in Scotland right now. So that's...
I don't know. Sometimes it gets cold.
Sometimes it gets cold, yeah. But anyhow, it's not like our good friend Shang Style out there in Sydney, 7 degrees. That's pretty cold.
That's rough.
Yukon Salvage. Hello from a very smoky Yukon. Looking forward to learning more about the fall-winter lineup. Will the Indigo hoodie be released every fall-winter season, or is it only this year? You know what? I saw your question on the Instagram, so I'm going to hit that question now. We're going to answer that one now. And the answer to that question is I want the Indigo hoodie to be a recurring item. Go ahead.
But there could be a challenge.
Could be a challenge, yeah.
So I think Indigo, like the as a product, I think it's good. It's very good, but the interior blanket lined pattern may have to change.
Yeah.
Because, as some of you know, we already had a bunch of issues like having to deal with the limited supply of these nap yarns.
Yeah, we've had to change the interior. This is going to be like the third time. So that interior changes a lot. So for sure, the next time we do it, it's got to be something else. My original idea for the line was, exterior Indigo, interior some sort of blanket pattern. And I would like to change the blanket pattern. It's just that, when you're doing all these pattern work, you're trying to change it up, it might take a long time. So it might not be every season. Maybe at some point we'll get really good at it and that we can get it, in a good cycle. But ideally, we have it every fall, winter. It may not happen that way. I have to say that the blanket that I wanted to do next was I wanted to do a point blanket. So hold on, let me go get one. I have one somewhere.
Yeah. So we, I think the issue with this also was that like there's, as much as like we like the blanket interior, it's one thing to show that on the front. So we wanted the front to be very versatile, like dark indigo all the way. But when we do a very high contrast stripes, you might see it a little bit more on the front because, like it's mostly the front yarns that you're looking at, but the back yarns does definitely come through. So if the color difference is very small, then you don't really see it at all as a pattern. But if it's a high contrast, like stripes, like we did with like the first version of this sweatshirts, like we had like a lighter gray with indigo and red, and the lighter gray part would show in the front of the indigo, and it was kind of like a stripy thing, which, I thought it was also kind of cool, but I knew that would turn off some people. So I think with that in mind, we have to design the interior a little bit, consciously. And obviously, again, like we got to keep the supply going, so we can't really. I don't like changing up yarns too much. We probably have to change the next batch yarns to another one because it's just like I would not be able to rely on the supply of those. But so that means that will change the composition. That means that will change the feel of the fabric.
Yeah.
So we have to take very cautious steps.
I pulled this out of a bin. I had it still on a hanger. I just ruined the hanger. Just bent the crap out of it.
It's okay.
Anyhow, this hanger is done. Pour one out for the hanger. But for people who don't know, most Canadians, I think, especially at this point, know what this blanket is. This is a point. Most people will think of it as like the Hudson Bay colors, which it definitely is. But this is known as a point blanket, and this blanket is made by Hudson Bay. Pour one out for the Hudson Bay because I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But what I wanted to do was something like this. Now, the point blankets come in a variety of colors and mostly variety of colors, but they always involve some sort of stripes. The base color and the colors of the stripes can vary. I would like to use this color. I wanted to use this color. I was afraid of using this color scheme. Mind you, this color scheme has been around for 300 plus years, so I don't know, legally speaking, if I could use it exactly the same or not. That said, the company that's been around for 300 and something 50 years just went under. So, anyhow. If I'm going to do it, I'm still going to avoid lawsuits because that's just a basic policy of mine. So, there might be some variation on this. I have a friend who had a brand who they made some jackets with these colors, and then the good people at the Hudson Bay tried to sue them.
Mm-hmm. It's also like, like the point of this point blanket is like the big stripes, right? And I don't know how, yeah.
Yeah, it may not be big, and we'd have to do our own iteration of it.
Yeah.
But
we were just talking about like the effects that it has on the front.
Right.
Like, there's a lot to consider. We just don't know yet. Anyways, we haven't even introduced this to the market yet. We don't even know how,
the reaction's going to be. That's true.
So I feel like it's a little bit, but either way, I think we like the idea of continuing the real indigo dyed front and the rib, just that kind of sweatshirts, whether inside be whatever. Right. That's a different story.
Yukon Selvage says Canadian Tire bought the rights to the Bay stores. I think they're attempting to buy Canadian Tire is like the Home Depot in Canada. It's just a big hardware store, and I think that their intention is to buy the IP. Whether or not that sale has gone through, has been approved, I don't know. All I know is that I don't want a lawsuit. That's the bottom line. So it can be inspired by this. It may not be exactly the same colors. I might use a different color scheme in general. I don't want to get sued, but I like these blankets. I think these are really cool blankets, and I like the idea of having, if we're gonna have, it's not really blanket lined, we call it blanket stripe, but if we have this indigo with a blanket interior, sort of like a old denim jacket style, I think it could be fun to just play off of the heritage and history of different styles of blankets on the inside, right? Because every culture has their blanket, right? Maybe not every culture. A lot of cultures do. I think that's pretty common around the world. So it could be fun to play off on that.
Like Mexican blankets?
Yeah, Mexican blankets would be great. And, I'm sure there's some like Indian, like Middle Eastern style ones that could be cool. So that could be a lot of fun to play with in that realm. But first let's get through the first one, and then we'll get on to the next ones. Okay, it's just we brought up the bay, so I just want to talk about that because I remember. So for people who don't know, the Hudson Bay is a large department store. It was a large department store in Canada. I don't know exactly how many stores that they operated, but it was in double digits, maybe even triple digits. And I think everybody my age grew up, with mixed feelings about the Bay because we watched it at its high, we watched it at its low, and, now it's completely gone. It went from the company being we're filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy to, we're just closing all the stores. And that happened relatively quickly.
And nobody's surprised.
Nobody's surprised. You know what? I have to say that on the news, because I was watching this story sort of unfold, and on the news they'd always interview people at the Bay and they're having these liquidations. Oh, what do you remember about the Bay? Oh, it was so nice. It's fantastic. And the service here was amazing. It was incredible. And all I can remember, because in downtown, when Reese and I lived in Montreal, we lived downtown. We lived 3 minutes from the flagship Bay store down there, and we were always, maybe not 3 minutes, huh?
Not 3 minutes.
It was very close.
Yeah, it's probably 10, 15 minutes.
Not even 15 minutes. I'm not even going to say less than 10 minutes. We were around the corner. We were in that store often enough, right? You've got to buy housewares, you got to buy blankets, pillows, all that kind of stuff. We were in there often enough, and it was just the constant, nobody works here. If I wanted to buy something, I couldn't even do it. And I'm going to say our second to last experience, or our last experience at that Montreal location was last summer. Last summer, Reese and I were there, and we wanted to buy some Bay blankets. They had this whole Hudson's Bay collection stuff. It's made in England, blankets, nice pillows, all this kind of stuff. And there's just this plethora of signs. 20% off, 30% off, 60% off, liquidation, and it's just everywhere. And I'm I don't understand what applies to what, because nothing is tagged. And so here we are in this section, we've got stuff in our hands, and we're looking around, and we can't find anyone. Literally this is a mega department store downtown Montreal on the entire first floor. I can't find anybody who works here.
Yeah. I mean, it's always been a little bit understaffed, I feel. But this was very different because it was the first floor, ground floor of the department store, which is mostly cosmetics.
Yeah.
And the cosmetic counters, a lot of them were closed, first of all.
Yeah.
It was on the weekend.
Yeah.
Nobody there. And a lot of the shelves were empty. So, I was, at that point, I was oh, they're closing this location. Yeah. That's the only,
that's the only thing that makes sense here, yeah.
That any department store is closed in the middle of a weekend, with the ground floor being empty as it was.
Yeah.
It's just it made no sense.
So, as we're hunting, I've got this stuff. I'm I want to buy this? Is there a counter? Can somebody check me out? And I find a guy, and he looks like he's 18 years old. And I'm hey man, can you help me out? And he's I'm security. And I'm okay.
So we can't steal.
Yeah. Can you help me? I'm just trying to check out here. And he's oh yeah, thing. Let me go see if we do that anymore, basically. So he went to look around for people, and like after 4 or 5 minutes, he comes back and just shrugs his shoulders like, sorry, man. I'm like, what am I to do here, right? Like, obviously I'm not going to steal. Obviously, that's not an option. But my point is, what difference would it have made, right? Like, literally, all of this, like, main entrance had this Hudson Bay stuff, like, you know, like, they clearly didn't. Why did you even open the doors? Like, what was the entire point of this? Again, I'm not trying to even justify stealing in any way. Zero. I would never do it. But the point is just like, what is happening in this location? And then when they finally, like, announced this, closure, I'm just like, yeah, no duh. Like, come on. Like, their flagship location in Montreal couldn't even have one person to check you out on a weekend. And it was just a dismal, showing. And so when this finally happened, I was just like, yeah, of course this is going to happen. So when I see these people on TV talking about it, and I would just go further, now this is going to go into Bahzad rant time on department stores in general. Because this bay, it took down also, like, you got to consider how many department stores have gone down in Canada in, like, the last 10 years. It's a lot. Like, Sears, Target, The Bay, Saks Fifth Avenue, Nordstrom, all of these stores gone, wiped off the map in Canada.
Target was there for like a year.
Yeah, Target was there for no time.
So it's not like they had a time to build up. Right? They got in, they got out. That's not what we want.
Fine, that's true, but it's like the state of retail in Canada is just such a difficult place. And at Naked and Famous, we used to deal with the Bay, and it was a very interesting experience because the buyer I had, great guy, knew his stuff, knew how to place the product, but it was just, it all boiled down to the floor. Because the floor, nobody knew what they were doing. And like, even he would admit to me where it was just like, man, we got like one guy who knows about denim in there, and like, we gotta like, encourage him. He's like, do you guys do like any, like specialist programs? I'm like, yo, if he needs some jeans, let me know. I'll get him some jeans. Make sure he's wearing our jeans in the store he could represent. And like, we couldn't even, me and the buyer agreed that was a good like tactic, and we couldn't even get it down to the sales floor. Like, I couldn't even get this guy jeans. And I remember one time we had a product knowledge seminar planned out for the Bay, and I'm like, yo, I'm going to Toronto. We were going to Toronto, and I'm like, can we do a product knowledge seminar? Can we train the staff? Can we do any of these things to help them sell better, understand the product? And literally, the buyer was like, yep, just here's the manager's information. Contact the manager. The manager's going to get back to you. And I was emailing the manager for weeks. I'm like, can I come? Can I just... I can do it before opening. I can do it in the middle of the day. I can do it at close, whenever you want, right? Now, sometimes I understand stores don't like doing the product knowledge seminar before opening because they have to pay the staff, right? Okay, so let me just come in the middle of the day. I'll just come and talk to your staff while they're working. Don't worry. There's no customers on the floor anyways. Nothing. I get no answer. And like 2 days after, like, we had already come back from Toronto, the manager's like, oh, I missed your emails. I'm like, yeah, you missed my emails. And, like, this is just such a simple, like, we're just such a small brand for them, right? Not very complex. Can you imagine, like...
Well, to be fair, that's also the reason why they were not, like, eager to make anything happen for us.
Yeah, I guess, maybe.
Obviously, but, yeah, I mean, it's also, like, from every point, like, I feel like the retail, like, customer-facing side, it was the biggest problem, but... logistically, they were all, it was very hard to work with. Yeah. And I think for a small brand, even if they, obviously being in the Bay is a lot of exposure, like, that's, as a brand, that's not a bad thing. But it's just, like, it's so hard to work with if you're an independent brand. If you're, like, huge company, then, I'm sure it doesn't... they deal with like all kinds of department stores. Just in general, department stores are very difficult to work with.
Right.
So it's just like, as from the brand standpoint, like it's not worth it, especially if your brand is not going to be represented well, just being put on the floor.
Right.
I don't know.
I once tried to sell them on like the Made in Canada jean story, and I said, why don't we do a Hudson Bay Naked and Famous jean, right? And then we can get the point blanket colors, we can get the bay colors on the selvage edge. This is going to be huge. People are going to love it. We'll promote the story. Like, we'll do all the heavy lifting. You just need to have it in the store. We're going to send customers to the bay, and like the buyer loved it. He's like, man, but the what he was saying, like there's like a separate team that handled like bay things, and he's like, oh man, they're never gonna do it. He's just like, he's telling me straight up, he's like, they're just impossible to work with.
Well, I do remember from like as a consumer, one time we went to Canada, maybe back then we already lived in Japan, so we went to Canada for work, and then we just wanted to bring back something for something for a family.
Yeah.
And we couldn't find the like point blanket pattern, the Bay signature collection they call it. That is made in Japan. Like there was
made in Canada.
Made in Canada. There was literally not a single item that in that collection that was made in Canada.
Yeah. Now these blankets are made in England. Right?
Right.
That's different. But they had clothes, they had shirts, they had flannel shirts and things like that. None of it made in Canada. So we were really trying to sell them as made in Canada.
But it's also like it's stupid because like if that's an iconic thing of the Bay as a store, like in the middle of like downtown Montreal, that is the tourist central. Tourists love things like that like it's obviously Canadian kind of thing.
Take it home. So hopefully, this is my advice to the Bay. Out there, here's what you do. Here's how you preserve this, I'm going to say national treasure. I don't know if it's a treasure. It might be a treasure. If you fix it the right way, it'll be a treasure. It becomes either a shop in some sort of department store as Hudson. Not Canadian Tire, because tourists don't go to Canadian Tire. What Canadian Tire is going to do with it is they're going to make like picnic blankets and like, coolers with base stripes on them. And it's just like, ugh. What you really want to do is you have these small shops, maybe Roots Canada or Holt Renfrew would take in a little shop-in-shop type of booth where you're selling high-end Bay point blankets, every color, right? And then when you have like nice sweaters and things like that, you got to sell Canada. You got to sell Canadiana. And then at the airports, every airport in Canada should have a Hudson Bay location where you're selling point blankets, and they're either made in England or they're made in Canada. You got to make them really high end. Like when we went to Iceland, I remember we bought some blankets at the airport there because they had all these beautiful blankets that were made right there in Iceland. And it's just one of these things where it's like, if you go there, you take it home, like you go to the duty-free shops in the airport in Canada, it's like there's nothing Canadian. Oh, you can buy some maple syrup that's incredibly stupidly overpriced. Instead of just buying it at the grocery store for the same bottle.
People pay for that though. It's very Canadian. Yeah. And that's what I mean though. Like it's just that like that is not going to go away. People would love that. People wouldn't, just be like, oh, that's so overpriced. No, you're at the airport. Like you just, you want something that's very, iconic. So like, why don't you just use that to their advantage, because you want to sell something iconic, even if it's overpriced, people would pay for it. And currently the only options that that people have that are very iconically Canadian souvenir: maple syrup, smoked salmon, and Canadian whiskey, maybe, which is not even like, it's not the same level as Scotch or anything like that.
So my advice is sell the blanket. Sell this blanket, nice ones, different colors. I think people will take it home with them all around the world and say, hey, look, I brought home a piece of Canada with me. Maple syrup's great and all, but,
after a while, you realize oh yes,
this bottle's been in my fridge for a while.
For like 3 years.
Yeah. Anyhow, so that's my my thoughts there. Gage asks, sorry if y'all have answered this before, but will you guys ever make a nice blanket? Honestly, I would like to make a blanket.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that we want to do. Blanket, like a home style things, like would be very nice. We just
one day at a time.
Yeah, we just have so much.
Yeah. Minus 10 says the retail business model has changed from big box to small box to online. Here, let me expand that out a little bit. The retail business has went from catalog to big box to small box back to catalog. I feel that online is the catalog. It's just the catalog. It's just a better catalog.
Yeah.
Right? So it just went full circle, right? We used to buy from the catalogs. Then, we felt it was inconvenient because you didn't get to see the item. You had to look at a picture in a book, mail away for it. It showed up if it was what you got. Or sometimes there was no picture in the book, right? Sometimes there was no picture in the book. You just had to base it off a description. Then the big box said, hey, we have it all right here under one house, and that was beautiful and fantastic. But the problem is, if you got a big store, so many different items, how can you specialize in everything all at once? Then you got the specialty stores. And the specialty stores, so long as you specialize and you deliver great service, I think that there's still plenty of room for that out there in the world, in the market today. And then you've got online, which, that's a big field, of course, But,
online and things.
It supplements.
It does supplement, and it's it's amazing because you don't have to be there. You don't have to have a store nearby for you to shop. But it does not function as the same thing as having a physical store. In that, online shopping is more purposeful. You look for something. And, sometimes you browse, obviously, on the websites and stuff. But
I'm going to get a catalog.
But you're not going to, just, randomly, just to walk around and, have impulse purchase the same way that you would do at physical stores. My problem personally is that if I'm buying something online, basically what's going to happen is that I'm going to think about I'm going to compare prices. I'm going to think about it for a long time, and then most of the time by the time that I thought about it for 3-4 days, I'm I don't want it. But with physical shopping, it's you either buy it now or you walk away, and that decision is put in front of you a lot of the times. I'm I'm just gonna buy it. So it's this very psychologically different thing and experience.
I think this one is from 1935. Yeah, 1935, 1936 Sears Roebuck catalog. This was the future of shopping. Almost 100 years ago. I mean, this is actually the paper is very delicate on this thing, as you can imagine.
Yeah, the prices on these things
take me back. Take me back to these prices. Hold on. Here, look. You can get some high-test pure manila rope. And hold on. It's gonna be. It's gonna rip. Some things are ripping already. Every time I touch this thing, it breaks. So yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen one of these before, some of the people my age might remember the Sears catalog or consumers distributing catalogs. But this business has been around for a while. Look at that beautiful bike. That's some bike. You can order that bike. And then you want to place your order? Here you go. There's your order form. What a beautiful logo, that Sears logo. My mother used to work for Sears. And my mother also used to work for the Bay. Man, maybe my mom's... there's a pattern here. Oh, look at this. See? Here's some handsome long underwear for those cold winter evenings. Real winter weights at bargain price. Somebody had to draw these. Yeah. 10% wool. There you go. Real warmth, $1.09 each. They were $1.15.
Very tight, these things.
They are. But medium weight, extra heavy. What does extra heavy look like in those days? Did we get a weight on that? Warmest, heaviest spring needle knit cottons, bound to wear longer to keep its figure figure fitting shape. It's firm, close texture. See actual photograph right. It shows how fine and elastic these suits are. Shaped collarette neck with rayon trim. Insert shoulders, smooth seams. It doesn't say. Shipping weight 1 pound 8 ounces.
But this is a whole suit, right?
The whole suit. The whole suit is 1 pound 8
light,
ounces.
Actually.
Yeah. Here, look at that. Oh, I'm gonna rip something. Heavyweight ribbed cotton. It's fantastic. Pilgrim brand, a name famous for value. There you have it. I do enjoy going through these catalogs from time to time. It's just fun to see what's out there. Look at this. This jacket looks fantastic on this kid. I'm just saying. Indestructo.
It's $1.98.
Yeah.
So.
And we've got the double thick. We might use that name. Indestructo Swede cloth made from real Swedes. Double thick at the wear spots. To sell for only $1.39 each. That's a great deal. In fact, the shirt.
I wonder if people modeled for this and then somebody drew it, or just people who are just like imagining models wearing it.
I wonder. You know what else I wonder? I wonder, Looper. The denim shirt I'm wearing right now. It's we found it this week at the old secondhand shop. It's a salvage work shirt here from Sears. It's an old Sears shirt I found. I think it looks. I really like it. I wonder how much it cost back then for a wonderful salvage shirt.
Yeah.
I want to see if I don't know if it's this old.
Yeah, I don't think it's that old.
Yeah, it's not 1935 old. Probably not. Okay.
But it would probably have been like $10 or $15 or something like that.
Right. It couldn't have been too much more.
No.
Well,
you probably paid more in today's money.
Correct. I probably paid more in today's money than
as a secondhand.
Yeah, than it was brand new in the money back then. That's interesting. All right. Let's go back to the chat and see what is coming through. BD says, what item that you folks make do you think is your iconic stripes blanket item that associates you with 355? I'm sorry, I don't know why I can't read this question, but basically, what is our iconic item that in 355 years will be associated with us? I think double heavyweight. Sweatshirts, T-shirts. I think is what initially caught a lot of people's attention.
Yeah. I mean, it's still the one that, we put basically a full force behind. Yeah.
So I think that's simply the answer. Of course, we in the grander scale of things, I think people will remember us for making interesting and innovative fabrics in this realm. Which is what we love to do. But
I mean, the thing is, like, we're still like under 3 years on the market with this brand, so it's like who knows by the time that we're gonna be like 30 years in.
Yeah.
Who knows what would have happened? This is just like a very beginning.
Right.
So right now, yes, it feels like it's a double heavyweight, but
it's like if you look at a brand like Apple, like what's their iconic product? And it's like they have so it's like if you're like which one was it? Like which is the most important product that they made? And it's like you can think of a lot of different eras in that line.
20 years ago, I would have said iPod.
Right.
But, now it's iPhones or, maybe you can say that, like, what it started as a computer is probably the right answer, but...
Yeah, that's an interesting question because you might feel differently at different points of time in your history. Okay, Maple, Texas says, if I can't get a stain out of a white Suryami knit tee, could I just hand dye it in indigo or something? Yes, of course. I will say that if you can't, number one, for stains on white tees. Dish soap, wherever that little stain is, hit it with some dish soap. Maybe get a toothbrush and just gently rub it. Let that soak in for a few minutes.
So if you know what the
Yeah,
stain
yeah.
is, like just because what kind of stain is it is the determining factor of what like
treat it
kind of
with,
soap
yeah.
you use. Like like dish soap is like a neutral thing, but dish soap is like really good against like oil stains and things like that.
Food stains.
Yeah. So
And, like,
but if it's like dirt and different things require different kind of
Yeah.
washing methods. So if you know what the stain is, it's great. If not, then you can try a different kinds of things. But the more you wash it, the more trial and error you go through, the stain will permanently settle.
yeah.
So you want to move quickly, but
And keep it out of the dryer. Like
Yeah.
if you washed it, don't put it in the dryer just yet, because the more you put that thing in the dryer, the more that stain is actually going to settle, and then it might just become impossible to get it out.
also there's this lady
Which
on
lady?
Instagram
Uh-huh.
that tells you how to clean anything. And
Let's find her.
yeah, so
Hold on. You
it's this lady, Clean with G.
All right.
And she just shows you like how to. Oh, this one was a good one. So basically, you just kind of, this big old chili oil stain. Like she tells you what to do step by step, what to use, and then like it's just like so clever. It's just like a lot of the things, like she just shows you like one step does not clean out everything perfectly. You go through different style, and look at that, it's all
all
white
gone.
again. Anyways, so there's a lot of resources online, and I think
Yeah.
it's easier to
For a lot of people, I will recommend the dish soap method. And then the other method I recommend is often this guy right here. This is just good to have in your arsenal of cleaning tools. It's called Utamaro.
Yeah, so this one has what's the word in English?
It has a little bit of bleach in it, so this is good
Yeah.
for whites. And what you'll do is, like on any stain that you're having trouble with, you want to just rub it. You can shave off a little bit of the soap, and then you can rub it into the area and just maybe foam it up, hit it with a brush gently. Let that sit for a few minutes, rinse it off, then wash. And it does a fantastic job of cleaning out tough stains, and or like sometimes getting rid of a little bit of yellowing. Sometimes your
Yes.
perspiration and
But-
things like that.
But be careful, because like fluorescent bleach,
Yeah, it's a bleach. Keep it away from colors.
optical brightener, I
yeah.
think is the English word for
Yeah.
it. But so because there's a lot of products using this kind of recipe, but it does, if you have like a off-white t-shirt, which our double heavyweight t-shirt is, which this like a Ecru ELS t-shirt is also like, it's not white, like it works well on Ultimate Pima, like type of like stark white.
Yeah.
But with these items, like you need to be careful. Just because it's white doesn't mean that it's the same white. If you leave it on for too long, it would make the part that's like optical
Stained.
white,
Yeah.
and then it's not.
Yeah. So this stuff, Utamaro, you can often find it on Amazon. Like it's a Japanese product, but you can find it on like American Amazon. I think Canadian Amazon might have it too. So look this up, because it's I think it's a pretty good product. We
There's
use
a
it
lot
here
of
at home.
hacks to use this,
Yeah.
because they only sell it in this like
Bar.
big block.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to use, but then like there's just like all kinds of like TikTok stories about like how to use it correctly. You can use cheese grater to grate these soaps so that it like melts easily in water, or like make it into a tiny, like chop them into a tiny cube, so you can like use it each time, because sometimes you use a bar of soap and then like get it wet and then leave it, and it just becomes like gross.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, look it up. It's it's a really neat product here, and there's all kinds of uses for it. Throw on the Google Translate, go to their website, and you'll see some cool stuff here. So, I guess that's it. There you go. Okay, there was another question. Okay. Oh, I would say that also, just as a final point on that, if you do have a white T-shirt that, sometimes your white T-shirt, it's got a couple of stains on it. It happens. They're not coming out anymore. Dyeing it is a great option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a great option. You can also, even if the T-shirt doesn't have a hole, you can also mend over a stain, and that it will become something cute.
Somebody mentioned to me that they accidentally, bleached a spot on one of their shirts, and what can they do? And I'm like, and I said, luckily, it was sort of over here. And I said, you could put a pocket, take it to your local tailor shop, maybe just get a contrasting fabric, put it in as a pocket, make it turn into a pocket tee. Or oftentimes there's a local chain stitcher. There's depending where you are
any kind of embroidery artists.
But find an embroidery artist, find a local chain stitcher, and maybe put your initials or something there to cover it up. And then it's like having a bad tattoo. Sometimes you got a bad tattoo, you got to put something else on top of it. You turn that tribal tattoo into something else. Sorry, tribal tattoo people out there. Just saying. Add some flowers on it, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, things change. Tattoo also gets old also, so you gotta keep it fresh. It's the same thing with T-shirts, Sometimes you have a stain, sometimes you have a hole. You gotta...
What happened to all the tramp stamps?
They're still there.
I know they're still there. I don't see them anymore.
Because people are wearing higher rise jeans.
That's true, but I'm just. There was a time where it seemed like you couldn't avoid them ever.
Yeah. Also, the people who have tramp stamps are now probably in their 40s. So.
Anyhow, it's just to me, it's at one point there were a gajillion pairs of True Religion jeans and Rock Republic jeans and all these stuff sold everywhere. I'm like, I don't see them. Where did they all go? Right?
Africa, probably.
They just donation binned it, and the third world has got them.
And a lot probably is in the landfill.
Right? I just sometimes there's a relic, and I'm like, where there were a lot of these at one point, and now they're just gone.
Where are all the Crocs going?
Right.
After this goes out of style? That's also a good question. I feel like they would do a good job of recycling and all that, but still.
Where are all the iPods? I am contributing to 5 or 6 iPods, drawer full of them, because I enjoy iPods. But what about the rest of them?
Yeah,
I don't have all of them.
Yeah.
Right?
Just, it's after you put it in the recycling bin,
yeah.
it just, you never know.
Right. Anyhow, I don't know where I got on that tangent. Jan S says that I saw that Wild Frontier Goods dyed your hoodie, and it seems to do dye the gray instead of the white. I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Well,
does it dye better than ecru or the white?
No. It's just different. When there's a color as a base, it's different. The outcome is different, and sometimes we people we didn't have ecru. We don't have a lot of ecru options. So if we don't have that in stock, some people just wondering it doesn't matter. If it's gray, it would still dye, and it would add maybe just a little gray undertone, which also could come out really, really nicely. So yeah, they do dye a lot of the ones that are already colored. I just saw they did the most recent one was a bunch of Ultimate Pima t-shirts.
Yeah, and they did some
a
tie dyes,
kind of thing. So it looked great. You should check out their Instagram.
Well, let's pull them up, because they're good friends of ours, and I love to talk about Mike whenever I can, because Mike is one of those good guys out there. He's a good guy, and so they do a lot of good work over there at Wild Frontier Goods. Hold on, that's not what I'm trying to do. Biggity bam. So go and follow them. Wild Frontier Goods. Mike and
Noriko.
Mike and Noriko. They do some great work. And this is them with the Ultimate Pima t-shirts that they just hand dyed a bunch of them. And so you can get a bunch of different colors. And like if you ever want them to dye one of our products, they can dye anything. But if you want them to dye one of our products, you just place the order with us. You contact them first, arrange what you want to have done, price, all that stuff.
We don't arrange that part at
Yeah.
all. We're just, what we do is that we get the message. You have to tell us, like, this is going to Wild Frontier Goods. We send it to them first.
Yeah.
And then, they'll send it back to us and then we'll ship it. But, all the dyeing process and, like that kind of thing. So you have to figure out with Mike directly.
Yeah, so check them out. And they also do some great leather goods. Like, look at this bag that Mike made. Mm-hmm. Really nice. So they do wallets, bags, leathers. This I saw this leather tray the other day. I thought it was really nice. And then there was like a little Batman thing. There you go. Did he? I wonder if he made that. That looks pretty cool. A little leather Batman. It's pretty neat.
It is pretty neat.
So check him out. He made me a wallet the other day. I was very appreciative of it. I got it right here. Look at this thing. Bam, biggity bam. So I lost my wallet, so he made me a new wallet. Look at that. There you go. So Nick says Mike and Noriko are great. They are great people. Okay, Maple, Texas has one more question. Sorry, I got a digital copy of Daytona Bros from Fujisan. But you have to use the proprietary reader. Bahzad, do you have any tools you use for screen translations besides screenshots? No, I do not. I would say that on Samsung, on my Galaxy Note 20, they had a really good translation feature. So, like, you could just take the pen. I don't know if it's on the new Galaxy phones or not. But if you had, like, a foreign language on the screen, you could just take the pen and highlight over it, and it would auto-translate it. Whether it was it didn't have to be a picture. It could be anything. And I thought that was really neat. And so I used that when I had to translate some things. I also have my very handy-dandy Risa bot, who's not a bot at all. She's a real-life human wife of mine who, excellent translator. She's so good at reading Japanese.
I wouldn't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
Better than me.
Because sometimes I just, like, look at the word and it's like, yeah, I understand. And then that's it. I'm not like conveying the meaning of it to you sometimes.
Does this make sense? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just use the screenshots
Is this
for now.
Game? Or?
No, it's a magazine. Daytona Bros is one of those like denim magazines, right?
Yeah.
And no, I do this. Like, I buy magazines here. I got my
Daytona Bros. Oh,
I don't know.
Still print that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But I take I just have the camera over the article I'm reading, take a picture, translate, read it that way.
Yeah.
It's definitely slower, but boy, I'm just saying, there was a time where there was no option, and that wasn't that long ago.
No.
That wasn't that long ago. So I just, when I was a kid, you got some comic books from Japan or some game from Japan. I remember, you get a game from Japan, like some import shop had a game from Japan. You put in your Super Nintendo, and you're just like, all right, let's go. And you're just like, I guess I'm just pressing buttons through this menu here because I do not know what any of that means, and there's no way for me to translate it. Zero chance. So I am just...
Yeah, you can't even pronounce it, so it's not like you can just ask somebody.
Yeah.
It's like that somebody has to be there.
Yeah, so even if it's slow, I am taking it. I think it's incredible. That's just me being old and just being like, what, microwaves? Like, no. Dude, translation, all this stuff that we got now, I think is a miracle. I think it's a miracle of whatever it is. I'm just so happy that we have all of this stuff.
Yeah, and it
at
only
hand.
gets better.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, when the Google Translate first, appeared, there was some horrible translations. Right. Now it's like, oh, okay, so
it's not bad.
Decent enough. Yeah.
So I will take it every time. Okay. You know what else I wanted to talk about today? The title of this video. Actually, when we started the live stream, I'm like, this is the first thing I want to talk about. But you know how it takes me. I just get riled up and things move in their own pace. But no trade shows, no problem. General topic of today's live stream.
Okay.
Because it is trade show season right now. It's starting.
Mm-hmm. Coming up.
Brands are traveling all around the world. They're packing up their samples. They're shipping their samples. They're going to Italy. They're going to Berlin. They're going to Paris. They're going to New York. They're going to Las Vegas. They're going everywhere. And we're not going anywhere.
We don't even have a single sample.
Yeah, right. And, I have to say that, as we were, I wrote about it in the newsletter, we're paying all these bills, we're buying all this furniture, and, one morning, I'm standing there, I'm getting the coffee ready, I look over Reese, I'm like, all the stuff that we're paying for right now, one trade show. That's all, we're spending basically just one trade show. And all the stuff that we are spending on, we get to keep forever. We get to use it forever. It's all hard tools that we get to have. When you go to a trade show, there's no guarantees of nothing, right? And if you're going, if Reese and I had to go to Paris right now, it'd be 2 flights, hotel, ship all the samples, or you take all the samples and just get them through customs, whatever. Sometimes you get through, sometimes you don't get through, whatever. Okay, let's just say we brought the samples. You're supposed to declare them, but anyhow, some brands do, some brands don't. Yeah,
I used to do the carnet. So the carnet, it's like you have to fill the paperwork, apply it in advance, and then you have to do the check in at the airport and check out at the airport. Basically, it's just like every time, even if it's a transit, you have to go to an office, which has office hours. Yeah. Despite being a airport.
Right. Okay, let's explain the carnet, because this is really something you guys would love to know about.
Because it's
as much as I love customs, this is the even more insane version of it, right? Because if you're traveling, say, for a trade show, and you're bringing goods with you, there's a value associated to that, right?
Right.
They can't just let you have those items at the trade show with you, because what if you sell them, right? They weren't properly imported into the country. Okay, so they have this thing called a carnet. So basically you have to declare everything that's coming in with a list, itemized.
This is just the samples, and we're not selling them, and that we are coming back, getting out of the country with every single item that's declared here.
So each item needs to have a ticket explaining what they are, and then you have to submit this paperwork when you arrive in the country. They have to go over it, check all your stuff, make sure everything lines up. And then when you leave the country, you have to do the exact same thing again. But sometimes that carnet office, say your flight's at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning from Paris to New York. You got to get out. But you know what? The carnet office, they don't operate on Sunday. What are you going to do? Well, you got to go to the airport when they are open. They got to check everything. Then you got to go back, and then you can go back to the airport on your proper departure time. But what's the point? I could have changed everything in between all that. There's just such there's so much room for whatever, I guess you can slip through this entire system. And worst of all is that a lot of countries, not a lot of countries, but some countries, I would say namely France, they don't check anything. So if you do it, you're just punished for having to go and do all the paperwork.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes, most of the time, they don't even actually check the physical items, but you have to bring it with you because
if they do decide that they want to do it, then they can really
and a lot of the times people don't know at the airport where this office is. Nobody knows, and they just have to go on hunt for this location, even just hoping that they're gonna be open.
Right.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the reason why we were required to do it was, Japanese companies, there's a lot of rules. Yeah. And also, if anything bad happens, if the customs officer decided that this could be a merchandise, then they could take them
They'll
away.
take it, yeah.
And if we're traveling halfway across the world to show a sample so that we can tell them, if the samples are not there, that's really like not okay. So like in order to avoid that 1 in a million risks, like you have to like do that. And with into America they're very strict.
Very strict.
Into America and into Canada they're very strict. Europe they can't.
Except for Germany.
Germany, yes, but even with Germany, like if you're just bringing in sample, they were not as strict. But like the thing is, like if you just ship the goods,
right?
Like you might have to like pay duties or whatever, but you could declare whatever you want because you're not selling them. So you could just say this is worth $10. Or $100 or whatever. It's like it doesn't matter because samples actually do not have like a
declarable value.
Yeah, like even if the end product might be sold for $200, samples you can argue that because I'm not selling this is only worth like $5. Like it doesn't really matter. So that's actually a better way to do it, so you don't waste time, because time is also worth something,
especially at the airport.
Yeah.
So oftentimes you ship your samples in because it's easier to get them in, and then when you if you're traveling throughout Europe, then because everything's already in Europe, you could just pack it in your bag and go from city to city. So there's a little hack for you out there, but.
But like really, like if you're in the apparel industry and like you're like in Japan, like everybody does this, and you just go to a foreign trade show and nobody has even ever heard of Carnet.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
But
why do you do that?
But what'll happen is and the thing is, like during trade show season, it's like it's the fashion plane. Like entering and leaving, it's like all the same industry people are all on the same flights. So you'll end up in like early morning flight in Paris, like, going to New York, and it's like all the fashion people, and you see like the Japanese companies, and it's like they've got like 17 luggages, like they've got huge teams, giant amounts of luggages, and each one of them is overweight, and each one of these, everything in them has to be counted. It is crazy how they operate, and it's just like going through all this rigmarole, all this cost, all this time. Forget it, right? For us, we produce our samples when they're ready. It's like I also just don't like being on this tight deadline where it's like every 5 months everything has to be ready, everything has to be perfect. It's like, what, our stuff is ready when it's ready because it takes time for these things to be ready.
Yeah, and just because there's a deadline, we can't like deadline like sometimes makes us like compromise because we can't do it then this year, like we're gonna have to wait till next year. We can't make it to the trade show, or like
wait 2 months,
or we just like just like maybe give up on certain parts of it. We couldn't get it made in time, so like we just we forget about this part, and it's really because a lot of times when you're developing new fabrics, and if you're just buying fabrics and making something, like the only thing you have to worry about is making it on time,
right?
But we're dealing with like cotton yarns,
trims,
we like
zippers,
like
and things
in
like
terms
that.
of like process though, like cotton, yarns, fabric, and then garment. So there's like so many steps that could get ruined.
Right. Yeah. Most companies are going to buy stock fabric. And so what do you have in stock? What do you make? So this is a mill, maybe they make a denim and they're like, yeah, we make this for everybody. We just pump this fabric out all day. Sure, we can do custom stuff, and we definitely do make custom stuff, but this is the stock ready goods that you need. And so a lot of brands are going to be like, oh, give me the stock stuff, because the stock stuff is ready to go. I can make a basic, that's why you see a lot of like basic raw denim collections out there, because they're all buying the same raw denim, or like the same like handful of fabrics that are available to everybody. And it's like,
I mean, to be fair, like it's not that it's
It's not bad or anything.
Less
yeah.
quality or anything like that. Just like that, it's a product, like it's a fabric that you can find anywhere else.
Right.
And if you're like us and we're just like really, really particular about the fabrics, then you have to kind of go and make it yourself. Sometimes you have to, like have the yarns made for us. A lot of the times we use yarns that are available, but the fabric is
still custom.
Yeah. Or things like that. So
yeah, there's still a lot of that. So, and for us, it's just like, if you work on such a tight schedule, there's times where you're going to have to compromise on things. And instead of that, we'll wait until it's the way we want it. And then, we release it when, we don't have a specific release date. Like, when are your hoodies going to come out? They'll be out in around this time, right? Yeah. Because they're going to be ready when they're ready, right?
But it kind of has to, like, we can't have...
I can't have double heavyweight coming on the middle of summer.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But, like, we certainly plan for a certain... Like, we have a certain idea of how long a lead time is going to take, right? But, we're not so tight on these deadlines that, if you think of, like, fast fashion companies where it's like, new inventory needs to arrive in the store every single week. They've got that thing planned out to a science. And... that's the way they work. A lot of big brands work that way as well. Mm-hmm. I used to work for Diesel, and Diesel, we used to have 4 drops per season of 4 new collections. And that's just the way it worked, right? You had, like, the pre-collection, and then you had, like, 3 seasonal, like, themes of that season. And, we don't have to operate that way. I don't like operating that way, because it's like, we want to make the things that we want to make, and it just takes time. And when you go to do these trade shows, number one, they cost a lot of money, takes a lot of time off of yourselves, especially as a small brand. And then I just feel like we would ultimately have to, like, compromise on things, because we're just not going to have things ready in time for that consistent window.
Yeah.
And I'm just telling you, the cost involved in all of this is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Just
the booths
incredible.
are expensive, and traveling, air travel now, it's
very
so
pricey.
much more expensive. And the hotel, like, you can't just stay in the middle of nowhere where
Right.
the hotel rate is cheap. You have to be close to the trade show,
Right.
which is in the middle of
usually in the city core, a nice area. And then you've got to deal with all, like, the nice area hotels, because if you're staying in the middle of nowhere, the cost of you cutting into the area is going to be the same. Like, if you're in New York and, like, wherever the trade show is going to be, you want to stay out somewhere cheap,
Yeah.
It's not going to make any sense, because that cab ride is going to take you forever. It's going to cost you $100 just to get into the city. So it's just not worth it. That's trade shows and why we don't do them. We're not going to do them. And
and the thing is, like, if you're just like a brand who wants to meet new buyers, just wants to, like, just get in front of buyers' eyes just randomly, then I think trade show is an important part of the business. But, like, nowadays things are different. Like, it's not like, even buyers don't come to trade shows as much. Like, they might come and just, if there's a brand that they work with, just to say hello, industry kind of things. But, like, actual business is probably done, like, in either showroom appointments or, sometimes even, like, oh, I find you on Instagram, like, you have a nice brand, would send me a line sheet, I send you a line sheet, the whole kind of things like that. So it's like the necessity of the trade show has declined for everybody, but especially for us, because we are in the position of, like, like, we do wholesale, we do have retail partners, but everybody that we work with is, people that, like, kind of know us, like, know us personally and know how we work and all that stuff. So they kind of have the, like, trust in us. We also provide a good, review of the things, but we also keep it very tight distribution, because we don't want anybody to be like, oh, this is not what we expected. Like, that's not a good way to do business. We just know, like, we need to know that, like, they know what we're making.
Right. like, when we do it's called wholesale booking. So when we book the seasonal collections with our retail partners, the video that we do that outlines the seasonal collection, like, we make that for them so they can see it. We can go over the fabrics and they can see it. But most of the times they don't see our products in person. Mm-hmm. But because they know us and we have a good relationship and we have this trust, they know what they're going to get. It's going to be a quality item. Versus, like, if we work with retailers that we don't really know, mm-hmm. and, we're trying to sell to them in this manner, again, there's a lot of room for, like, oh, this wasn't what I was expecting, this, that, and the third. I don't want to deal with that. And then if we are going out to trade shows, I would say that the problem is, like, when you go to a trade show, you're basically saying, I'm open for business, mm-hmm. right? Anybody who wants to order, I'm going to take your order. I mean, of course, you might have to review customers here and there. There might be some conflicts. But that means we take on so many more accounts that we have to then manage. We have to then pick, pack, and ship orders for, produce for. And then on top of that, I would say bill collections, right? Because we're also the bill collectors. And I don't like, my friend Yuki, he's got brand Yuki-10. He's got the greatest thing. He's like, we're makers, not bill collectors, right? Like, pay your bills. I don't want to have to chase you for your payment. And I don't want to have to chase anybody for a payment. So when you go to a trade show, you're meeting new people. I don't know you from nobody. And you are taking orders. And I'm saying it happened in Naked Famous all the time. We would take orders from people. Here's your order. It's ready. We've produced everything. Here's your bill. Oh, what do you mean I have to pay for this? I thought you were going to give me terms. What do you mean you thought I don't know you from nobody? What terms is, like, you got 30 days to pay. 30, 60, 90 days, whatever. Some department stores really love to 60, 90, 120 day you. But, a lot of retailers, independent stores, they get terms eventually. You have a relationship with them, and then, you have this trust that, okay, I can send you the goods. I know you're good for the money. You'll pay me later.
But that's also
right?
a better case, because some of the times, and it's not very rare, it happens enough, is that we can't even get a hold of this buyer who placed it, sizable order. And it's like, I just wonder, it's like, you're a small store, you place like a $5,000 order, like that, you would think that's this brand is what I'm gonna, put in this corner of the store.
Yeah,
like,
you plan for it.
Like, but then, like,
you get
nothing.
Radio silence, just complete, like, I'm like, okay, so here we are with all these goods that we made for you, that we took the time, ordered the fabric, produced it, did all this stuff. You're not answering, you're not paying. Well, I guess, we got to deal with it now. And then, Naked and Famous, of course, they had a large enough operation where, you could mitigate a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, you certainly after a trade show have an expectation that there's some of these orders that you've taken that you're not getting paid for.
Yeah.
You know it, right? Yeah. And I just do not want to deal with these people ever.
Yeah. And like, a lot of the times, like, this is why we, like, as a brand, you have to have a decent amount of, like, website business, like direct to consumer business, because the wholesale customers sometimes are unreliable. Like, you at the end of the day, like,
not ours. Ours are all the greatest.
Yeah,
by the way.
For sure. Yeah. And that's because we keep it really tight distribution, because we don't want to deal with it.
It's all people we trust.
Yeah, but, like, that's out of necessity too, because it's just, we can't handle this nonsense, basically. And another thing is that, like, it's just like, these small businesses kind of, like, it rotates, maybe, like, every time we go to trade shows, like, you might pick up a few, but you
also
in that sense,
you
lose a few. But each time that happens, it's like, a bunch of paperwork, bunch of, like, getting to know the customer, and, having to give them, like, the basic pitch of, everything. And it's just like, that takes a lot of time and effort that doesn't necessarily come back to us in the long term, because as a brand, what we want from the wholesale customers are that they represent our brand, and that this is a home away from home for our brand.
We can't open up stores everywhere around the world, so our retail partners, they're our extension out there.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that they're representing properly, they know the product, they've got a great assortment, and Yeah, when you start picking up random customers here and there, I want to have a couple T-shirts.
It's very inefficient.
Yeah, it's very inefficient. So, certainly we want to grow, but we want to grow in a way that is, I'm going to say on our terms and in a way that makes a lot of sense. And a lot of brands, look, this is for a lot of people, business is business. How you make money is really ultimately the bottom line, right? The dollar is the bottom line. More customers, more business, more money. That's all that matters. That's not really what matters to us, we're two people. We're not trying to live fabulously. It's nice to be comfortable, but I'm not trying to have a yacht or anything like that. The point is that the business doesn't have to fulfill my wildest dreams of having a Bugatti. You know what I mean? Like, for me, it's important to have a brand that is represented well, good growth, great products, great customers. That's it. Just a steady, calm business. It doesn't have to be maximum growth every year over year, 25, 30, 150% increase. It's nice, but that's not the goal. The goal is just to make good product, and then when you make good product, customers come. It's the trade show life. Not for me. I'm not after try to get 100 accounts all around the world. Good accounts represented, in places that people are, right? We see we know where our customers are, and certainly I think there's a lot of them are in the United States, in Europe, and there might be little pockets here and there that we don't have covered, but we try to cover it with the great accounts in those areas. Maple, Texas says, seems like trade shows are from an era before you could live stream on the internet directly to your customers. Trade shows have been around a long time.
And again, I think there is a way that you can grow your brand through trade shows too. Because it's just anybody could be on YouTube, but not everybody can actually grow the audience.
Right. And I'm gonna say, to be real, the brands that are huge, Crocs, Herschel brand, these companies that are everywhere, big $100 million brands, more, they did it at trade shows. Let's be real. But that's because that's the kind of business that is, we're open for business. We're a business about business, bottom line. Of course, there's people there who care about the products they make. I'm not trying to say that, I'm not trying to disparage their products or anything like that. I'm just saying that there's different ways to do it. And, there's that way, maximum growth, maximum success. And then there's, I would say just our way, which I think is a little bit different than everybody else's, but I'm happy with the way things are going. I don't need, my mind isn't really my mind isn't, my desire isn't for that. I like to say, we're going to be bigger than Apple. We'll be bigger than Apple out of the comfort of our live stream, right?
But, at this point, we're still two of us, and we're still, at the same time, growing.
Yeah.
Each season, and thankfully, that's, obviously with the support of our customers and wholesale retail partners. And I think, at this rate, we may grow a little bit bigger, but it's just right now I feel like it's just kind of a perfect place where we could still control everything. We don't need to give up on things that because we have to worry about growth and all of that, but because we do have enough growth that for instance, we can have a nice office,
right?
We still can be expanding, making sure every collection is getting bigger. So I don't know. I like where we are right now, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, we'll keep it. I think we're gonna keep it pretty cozy.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the Instagram because we have to answer your questions, because that's what we posed out there for you guys. So on the Instagram, for those people who can't make it to the live stream, we put the question out there. Is there any questions you have for us? So we're going to answer some of them. let's do it. There is a question that says, hello. Is Friday the 13th a day of significance in Japan like it is in America?
No. We do know about it because of the movie, the Friday the 13th. Some people. But number 13 has no meaning or nothing. And
what's the
also
scary number here?
4.
The number 4. Why?
It's the way you pronounce it. You can pronounce it yon, but you can also call it she in certain like circumstances. You call it she, and she literally means death. So hospitals do not have a 4th floor. Hospital goes from 3rd floor to the 5th floor.
No 4th floor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to stay on the 4th floor.
Yeah. John says, isn't 4 a lucky number in China though? I think 88 is the lucky number. 8 or 8s.
Yeah, 8 definitely is a lucky number in China.
Yeah.
4. So the 4. I don't know about.
John Chen says 4 is death. So.
Yes. That's what I said.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. But maybe he's speaking for the Chinese. Also.
Oh, I don't know. No.
I'm just presuming.
Okay. I mean, we use the same letter for 4. I don't know how they pronounce it actually, but and then I don't know what they call death over there. So
yeah,
I don't know. I can't speak to that. But so 4, like traditionally, is not a good number. But I mean, I think more modern people don't really care about that. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, maybe 4th floor didn't exist in old hospitals. Maybe the new ones have them. I that wouldn't surprise me because people just don't put that much, like...
superstitious?
Into the thing. But still, like, you don't... If your like, license plate number is 4444, that's not a good sign. Like, you don't want that.
Yeah, if you see double 8s, though... 88 or 8888 on the license plates here, it's probably a gangster.
Or a wannabe.
We have John Chan says 88 or 2 are lucky numbers. And Ansel Hugh says 4 also sounds like death in Chinese. All right, Brenton says we have enough Chinese diaspora in Toronto that our elevators go straight from 12 to 15. Really? I know that there's no number 13. And in the West, there's often not a number 13, floor 13. Right. I didn't know about 14. Or maybe you mistyped. It's possible. But if is 14 also in there? I don't know.
Okay, so what? Sorry, I think I learned this a long time ago, but I forgot. What was the Friday the 13th? Friday the 13th significance? Like, why is 13 a bad number?
I don't know why 13 is the bad number. It's just
something to do with like Christianness.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why 13th somehow became a bad number. Also, I forget which ones it is, but Friday the 13th, which part is it? Somebody's gonna correct me in the chat. It's just not coming to me right now. But there was a series of the Friday the 13th movies that happened like days after each other, like sequentially. But the titles were still Friday the 13th. But it's like, no, this is actually Saturday the 14th and Sunday the 15th. Like, you know what I mean? It just, just titling. It's like, where's Rambo? Where's it's like the Rambo movies.
Yeah.
There's no Rambo 1.
Yeah. Okay, let's
go.
Some questions.
And I'll get into that. Okay. Here's another good one. It's not so much a question, but it is a comment. I'm going to answer the comment. Forget the stream. More shirts. Forget the stream.
Okay. It's not... Just because we quit our streams doesn't
make more shirts.
Shirts more quickly.
We can have both.
Yes.
And in order and you find out about the shirts through the stream. Yeah. So we're gonna have, instead of giving up on one to get the other, which doesn't work, we're just gonna have more of both.
Yes. But I mean, you're not like required to watch streams in order to buy shirts or anything like that. You can just That
too. You don't have to watch the streams. Okay. Mad Perfect says, more streams, more shirts. Keep the streams. Streams, they're not going anywhere. Here's another one. Would you ever sell fabric so customers on the larger end can enjoy Wonder Looper?
No.
No, we're not in the fabric business. I think we do a pretty good size range. I'm sure there are some people they're on both edges, extra like the very small and on the larger side that we may not cater to. We try to cater to as many people as we can. We do. I think our size range wise, like, you know, especially if you're in the XL, double XL end, you might appreciate the sizes that we offer that just aren't offered in this side of the world. Yeah. Okay. Any plans for making a FoxFibre Super Looper collection?
Yeah, I mean, we dance with this idea every now and then.
Yeah, it'll come.
Yeah, I think so.
It's definitely a matter of time. And then, okay, if we visit the store, can we pet Snowy and can we bring gifts?
We're not going to bring Snowy to the office because he hates traveling.
He definitely does not enjoy traveling.
Like to be in the cage. He loves home. That's where it's his domain. Yeah. Home. So unfortunately, he's not going to be there. But you can bring gifts. You don't need to.
Don't feel obligated to bring us anything. If you want to bring us a trinket from your where you're from, it'd be appreciated. But definitely don't. Your presence is our gift.
Right.
Your presence is a present to us.
But just to clarify, you call this as the store, but it's not going to be like a regular store where like we are open most of the day kind of things. It's only appointment basis. So it's more like a showroom where you have to make an appointment in order to make sure that you can come to our space. So we're still figuring that out. That's not something that we're like have a schedule or like have a logistics thought out yet. We're gonna share that once we do. But this morning I just realized this is like second to last stream that we're gonna have here, likely.
Right. Likely.
If the internet gets sorted out relatively quickly, then we may have the stream of July, the first stream of July.
Maybe it's possibly the 27th could be the first stream.
Possibly the 27th.
Yeah, if not July the 4th, America Day. America Day. So we'll keep you posted.
So it looks like we're gonna. I was like, in the beginning or like earlier times, I was hoping that we would have an office set up by next weekend so that we can have the Sally Fox live stream at the new office like a professional. Yeah. But
we're gonna be still amateur. Here in our office here. Our home office here. Okay. The Raven says, Snowy really is the James Dean of our time. He's definitely a mascot of our little realm that we exist in.
He's pretty cool looking.
Yeah. He's got his own jeans. I don't even have my own jeans. He got his own jeans. What can I say? All right, another question. Would you guys ever consider making t-shirt weight hoodies for warmer weather? Yes, we've been like really considering getting like a lightweight like a lightweight French terry sweatshirt. Yeah. So that's not it's gonna be like similar to the weight of maybe a heavier t-shirt. But the construction of the fabric would still be sweatshirt material. And, we'll make it in sweatshirt cuts. Yeah, that'll probably be for spring 26. No, 27. Yeah, sorry. My brain is all over the place here. And another question about Are you guys ever going to do the triple heavyweight T-shirt again?
Yes, it will be back in the fall.
Yeah, back in the fall. So there you go. There's some questions from the Peanut Gallery. And if you have questions next week that you might not be live for, you know that we take a little bit of time every week on our Instagram to field questions from the field, and we'll answer them, at least some of them, most of them, from there. Is it just terry cloth when the loops are on both sides? So loops on both sides.
Yeah. I think we call it terry. We call it pile too. I don't know if that's an English word. Yeah, pile.
Yeah. And speaking of Friday the 13th, David Hunter, NYC. David Hunter. David 13th has been considered unlucky for centuries, possibly due to its association with the Last Supper, where Jesus and his 12 apostles were joined by Judas, the 13th guest, betrayed
Yeah, I feel
Jesus.
like that's what I heard. Yeah.
For example, Jesus was crucified on Friday, and Eve gave Adam the forbidden apple on Friday. Some also believe that Cain killed Abel on a Friday. Interesting. Well, there you go.
Fridays are not a good day.
They're great. You know
great.
What? Let's
TGIF.
TGIF. You know what? That beautiful block of television from my childhood that I'm sure many of you also remember. TGIF. What would our lives be without Full House, Boy Meets World, Sabrina the Teenage Witch? What else was great? Family Matters, Perfect Strangers. Just some of the best. Some of the best. What were some not great shows from that block? Teen Angel. Remember that one?
I don't know.
You don't. Nobody does. Somebody out there might. John Ake's Family Matters. So good. So good until the end. Sometimes if you watch some of these shows all the way to the end, you're just like, oh, you just should have stopped.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of the shows, I think.
I'm just going to say here, I don't want to ruin it because I feel like, okay, can I take a hot take on the last episode of Family Matters?
Okay. I know nothing about it.
Okay, but the audience, I'm just assuming that there's nobody in this audience who's going to be like, oh, you ruined it for me.
Well, if you might feel that way, just turn it off for a minute.
Just for a second. If I'm going to ruin Family Matters for you right now, just tune up for a second here. But what the heck was that last episode? Okay, number one, they recast Harriet for Harriet is the entire reason the show exists. Okay, she was
like a Family Matters. I don't even know which show it is.
She's the mother, and she was the elevator operator on Perfect Strangers. It was a spin-off show that made Family Matters, and Harriet was the wife of Carl. Okay, and then they recast her for the last couple of episodes, which was really stupid. I don't know why. I think she wanted out of the show. Whatever it is, they could have figured something out, at least to let her be there all the way to the end. And then Urkel ends up with Laura. I understand that Urkel and Laura had this love thing from the beginning, but Myra loved Urkel. Myra loved Urkel, and Urkel and Myra were perfect together. And I don't like it. He should have ended up with Myra because Laura ignored him the entire show until he became Stefan, which he literally had to change his DNA to, be with this girl.
What he looks like right now.
Yeah, he still looks great. But what can I say? Myra and Urkel. That is a combination that should have lasted. Myra loved Urkel. Right? Anyhow. John Ake says, but I loved Urkel's car. Urkel had a great car. It was like he had
a car?
Yeah, he had like this three-wheel car that you had to open it from the front, and then you stepped into it. It was like a little tiny car. It was like a bicycle with a shell on it, basically. It was very funny.
Was it motorized?
Yeah, it was motorized. Yeah.
How old was he? I thought he was like a very small child in the show.
Well, he started off as a very small child, and then he you get older over time. The show ran for many years, and he was probably like when the show started, he was probably like in the show probably like 12 years old, I would imagine, and then
as time goes on. It was like 5.
Yeah. Oh, John says it's a BMW IIRC. Let's pull that up so everybody can see, because this is a very humorous looking car, no question about it. It's very, very funny. Let's go. I don't know what that button does.
Okay.
I don't want to log in. Google, leave me alone. Just pull up the thing. That one is the thing. Huh?
Oh, he says that it's wrong.
Oh, okay. Sorry, it's an Iseta. Iseta. Okay, here's the Urkelmobile. Whatever it is, it was this thing.
Looks cute.
It looks very cute.
Yeah.
Hold on, let's bring that up. Bam. So it's this thing. It is a very funny looking car, and it was very appropriate for him. Open it up from the front. The Urkelmobile. There you go. Imagine driving around that thing. Somebody in Tokyo has one. Tokyo Streets has a BMW badge. Name that car. Well, whatever it is, very funny. There you go. A hair question. Has Bahzad ever had short hair? And what's the craziest hair color that Risa has had? Have I ever had short hair? When I was a kid, the last time I had short hair was probably 11th grade. I had long hair, and then I cut it all off, and I was like, I'm not doing that again.
11th grade is like what? You're like 16? 17,
maybe like
17, something like that?
No, I think I was like 15, 16.
Wow.
Yeah. And
I've
then
never seen a picture of
yeah. It wasn't, and then I might have not shaved it off. When I was a kid, I used to keep it like pretty shaved. I think my parents just thought it was,
I remember like your tiny kid like bowl cut style.
Right. I had some bowl cuts, but like in high school, it just progressively got longer. Like my mom, they would get here. My mom was like, get a haircut. I'm like, ugh, you get a haircut, and then I can get it a little bit longer, get a haircut, and then I get longer, get a haircut, and then it just at some point your mom can't tell you what to do anymore. And so it just kept growing. And then I got a haircut. I'll tell you exactly my last haircut, because it happened in 2008. Haven't cut my hair since then. Awkward moment at the hairdresser. I was working at Holt Renfrew. If you're watching this, by the way, hairdresser guy, I'm sorry, but I worked at Holt Renfrew, worked at the department store, and it's like, oh, well, you work here, so like if you go to the spa, this and that, you get to use your employee discount. I'm like, this is great. So go and get my hair cut. Got it not short, but like, my hair was probably like down to, just past my shoulders. I got it like, trimmed up. I don't remember how the length, maybe around here. And okay, great. Thanks for the haircut. I go to the counter. I pay, and there's like no thing to tip. And I also don't know how much to tip this guy, because I don't get too many haircuts anyways. And the thing didn't tip. I didn't have cash, and I'm just like, uh-oh. And so I left, and then I'm like, what do I do? Do I go back and give him money? Does he expect anything? This is an employee thing. I didn't know what to do, and I was just like, you know what? Forget it.
Never going there.
Never doing that again. And I've never.
That's how you don't cut your hair anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the real reason. The thing is, like, I have like hair is like basically like almost down to my waist, and it just doesn't get any longer than that, and it's been like this length forever.
But last summer, I almost convinced you to cut your hair. Almost, yeah. It's not that I convinced you. It's that like you had this thought. It's like, oh, I just want to cut it because it's so hot and it's like so cumbersome to wash. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I support the decision. And I was trying not to push you towards that.
Yeah.
But I just want to see. I want to see.
My thing is like I'm so used to this face, and if I cut it off, it's gonna take years to get it back, and I don't know.
But the thing is, like, this face doesn't change if it's like here.
Yeah.
As long as you can tie it in the back, you're gonna look the same.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
It's not the look.
John says, time for Bahzad to unleash his reggae side and get dreads. I don't think I could handle dreads. The weight is going to be too much for me. I have long hair, but I always have it tied up. And if I have it tied up, if I had dreads and had it tied up, it would be a lot.
It's just like it's a whole different.
That's a whole nother world. I don't think I could ever. One time, we were in New York, and this lady, she did cornrows for me.
Yeah, we recently talked about it on the
and
show
it was
too.
I couldn't handle it.
Yeah, but also like it's hard to like wash and like it's a whole different lifestyle.
Bingo. I would have to adopt a completely different lifestyle for that, and I don't know if I'm. I don't know if it's not that I don't know if I'm not there. It's just not gonna happen. BD says I used to have long hair, and now that it's short and styled a bit, he feels so much happier. I'm sure I would definitely appreciate, being able to wash my hair in 3 minutes instead of the rigmarole I have to go through. But yeah. Embrace the dreads for a double heavyweight hairstyle. You know what? I like it on the people who have it. It's just not. It's not for Bahzad.
I also find it funny because like sometimes you like randomly see a long-haired man.
Yeah.
And if that person is like cool, like regular person, they don't say anything.
Yeah.
But if that person is like, the type of person that you
it.
don't want to like present as, and it's like, oh, this is why I need to cut my hair.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it. In Japan, there is as you can imagine, there's a number of people who find themselves here who are of the I look like a neckbeard category. I try to refine myself a little bit, but you know what I'm talking about out there, okay? They're the kind of people you can smell through the screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're here. You see them. They're out and about, and there's just they all got long hair. They just do, and I'm just like.
I think that's laziness.
It might be. I don't know. It's just. Sometimes I think it blends in, and I have to say there's a lot of commonality in terms. They like heavy metal music. I like heavy metal music. Like there's certain things like. Okay. Right, when I was really into go to metal shows and things like that. We all had long hair and headbanging and okay, got it. But there is something about this disheveled creature with long hair, and I'm like, I hope I'm not presenting that way. And I'm sure some people think, oh, there's one over there too. Anyhow, sometimes I see it and I'm just like, oh man. Anyhow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm that's Bahzad being judgmental. Sorry. Sometimes I'm judgmental. The Raven says, the longest I've gone is past my eyes, but with my mom being a hairstylist, it makes getting a haircut easy.
Yeah,
well, there
that's
you go.
Nice that you can just get it done at home.
Nick says, a few more years and I might need to shave my head. The balding spot in the back of my head is like the rings on a tree. Mm-hmm. I might also be balding back here. I don't know.
You might bald from here.
Yeah,
if that's a possibility, I don't know.
It's certainly a possibility that I'm losing here. It's possible. I'm getting old, right? My uncle has a similar type of situation.
Yeah, but, I mean that's the hard decision that you have to make.
But I have to say, the wider angle the lens, the more it makes that look. And sometimes I see myself on a pretty wide angle lens, and I'm like, what the hell is happening to my head? And then I'm in the mirror. So I don't know. I could be losing some hair here, but there's enough long hair that it all just covers it up, and I'll never know.
The only way to figure out early, before it's too late, is to tattoo a dot at your hairline here and see if hair is receding from that.
Uh-oh. Anyways, if it is going, I'm going to Turkey, boys. Just I'm gonna get that fixed.
Why do you have to go to Turkey though?
Because that's where you go.
But why don't we have that same technology imported into.
I don't know. It's just like some countries are good at what they do. Japanese make denim. Could you make denim somewhere else pretty good? Probably, but you make Japanese denim. The Turkish, they're gonna fix your hair.
That's the industry that keeps Turkey afloat.
Yeah, it's the best hair plant place. I don't know why. I don't know why either, but they're good at it. It's like if you want if you're an Asian girl and you want like Asian style cosmetic surgery, where do you go? Korea. They all go to Korea. Why? They just do. There's procedures here too in Japan, but the Japanese girls, they go to Korea.
I think it's because it's cheaper, actually.
Maybe, but they're also really good at it. They got all the skincare stuff. They got all kinds of. They got all kinds of stuff. It's also very
casually done. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Oh no, not at all. It's very normal. Just like, oh, you graduated high school.
New nose.
New nose for you.
Literally, I knew a friend. I had a friend who got that as a graduation gift.
Nose, eyelid surgery. Let's get you prepared for adulthood. It's just so common, just normal. Like I remember going to Korea and like you'd be in these areas and it's like, oh yeah, this is like plastic surgery town, and it's like every building here is a plastic surgery clinic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And no wonder I can't tell a difference between like a one K-pop member.
Yeah. They all
the other.
They all kind of get the same look. Yeah. It's very it's hard to tell them apart. The Raven, raw salvage unsanforized Turkish hair. Unsanforized hair transplant. Never wash it. No. I don't know. Anyhow, if I'm losing my hair, I'm gonna get it fixed. It's gonna happen. John Egg said, it's so sad that many people embrace the surgery. Wish people could age naturally. Yeah, I get it, but we're also sometimes these things.
We don't want to accept it sometimes. And if a little money can, just make us feel better, that's not.
I'm okay with it.
The worst thing.
Yeah, I'm not the most vain person in the world, but sometimes you gotta pluck a few eyebrow hairs. You gotta do some things like that. I'm getting pretty gray. I'm embracing the gray. I have no problem with the gray.
Yeah.
But
the more you have the gray, like I feel like it's better. If you have like 3 or 4 hairs mixed in, and like it's hard to like not care. But once you're like in that zone where like maybe 20% is gray, like that's kind of respectable.
John says the problem with half of them is they look like gremlins when they're 60. Yeah, some people definitely overdo the surgery and they look
and there
alien.
Are surgeries that are like really like doesn't age well.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, like people with plastic surgery, they tend to like just kind of
keep doing it.
Yeah, it's like they don't know where to stop, and then it just by the time you're like, it's just it's not a great look.
Right. If you want to do some small maintenance here and there, fine. But like when you're really like redoing your entire face, okay. Hey, you do you.
And I recently found like a batch of like gray hair underneath here.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it because it's like, when my like roots grows, like, it's hard to tell which hair is what. So like, I didn't notice, but I think there's this like fuzzy hair part, like the start of the hairline here. It's gray, I think. But you know what? Yeah. I don't need to see that.
Yeah, at least you dye your hair. Me, I got like I got a decent amount of gray in there now. Like
Yeah, but that's a good look, especially for men. Like it's not a bad thing.
No, I don't think it's a bad thing. John A said it's not fair. Anyways, Asians age so well. I think Asians age so well to a point, and then there's a cliff.
There's like a meme.
There's a meme.
Yeah, it's like you're like so pretty up to like 50 or whatever, and then like boom, and you become like a curly hair.
Yeah, the curly hair, old Asian lady. Yeah, it's funny. But yeah, there is definitely a cliff, and it's kind of funny.
It's funny.
Right. Okay. David says, will your upcoming black FoxFibre hoodie use a black, white, or FoxFibre drawstring? White would be too jarring with the black FoxFibre cloth. The answer to that is we're planning on black.
We don't know. We don't know yet.
Number one, the drawstring cards are a crew, so they're not like a stark white. But
and we use it on our like For instance, we use it on our, this is covered in cat hair a little, but it's not too jarring. I don't think that would make, insane looking a thing. We use it on all of our black hoodies. Yeah. But because it's such a, special project we're working on, we thought maybe having a black cord
So I just
possibility.
I just ordered a bunch of samples here, and so I have a bunch of different shades of black, and we haven't decided yet, but it's possible that we will make it a black drawstring cord, and I would say that if we do, then we might have some extra, and if you want to order one and put it on your existing black hoodie or change one of your hoodies, we might have some in stock. So we will decide. I'm leaning towards like a faded black, not all the way faded, but like this one on the end is like too gray.
Mm-hmm. That's a gray.
That's a gray. Yeah.
Gray.
But one of these will do the job in terms of color. I'm thinking somewhere one of these in the middle here. Hard to see. And we will we'll make a decision on that. But I think it would be nice to have a black one on there.
Yeah, just a change of thing.
Yeah.
Yes. What was I gonna say? So another thing that we were working on is like getting a new packaging sorted out. Also, so we kind of did pull some samples, and we're gonna try. I'm not sure if a packaging is that important. I'm on the camp that's usually gonna go straight to the
bin.
The bin, and like maybe people don't care. But I also feel like, it's we could always improve. I don't think it's directly like affects our sales or like brand image is gonna change overnight, but. We wanted to do something special, so we found this like
Do you have the bags?
Ziploc. I think I put it all away.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah, anyhow.
We can show it when we have the things.
Yeah.
But so this company makes the plastic Ziploc bags in Japan, and so like even the bags are going to be made in Japan, and it's a Ziploc bag, but they seem to have been
Ziploc style. It's not a Ziploc branded bag, but Ziploc style bag.
Zip bag. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But they're like the pioneer of that in this country.
Right.
So we like.
In fact, I would not be surprised if for the Ziploc company that this company makes all their bags. I would not be shocked by that.
Japan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume that they do, but they are coming, and they're going to have some sort of like colorful, pull at the top, and it's going to be nice.
Hopefully,
but yeah, it will be a little bit different. So anyway, that's coming up for the fall. We just put an order for that in, and I didn't mention it in the newsletter, but I'll mention it here just because it's funny. But I always talk about how in Japan, any kind of business you want to do is never perfectly smooth, and so we order the bags, or we contact the company, they send us a couple samples, we decide the color and the thickness of the plastic and all that stuff, quantities, okay, send them what we want, they send us the invoice, we pay the invoice, no problem, and then a few minutes later, no, order canceled, payment rejected, you're locked out of your account, blah blah blah. It's just what? And they're like, yeah, you don't normally order this much stuff, so we wanted to take the precaution to, and then Risa on the phone for an hour, trying to get this all sorted out. It was just you sent this is anyhow. It was just of course it was gonna be like that. Nothing could be so smooth. Of course, something in the middle of it had to happen. But anyhow, hopefully next time they'll be oh, okay, this seems like a normal purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Devin writes, what gets more use for you right now, FoxFibre or baby cashmere? For Bahzad, I'm gonna say what gets the most wear hoodie-wise for me right now is Super Looper.
But we're not really wearing hoodies anymore these days.
Yeah, if it's a cold, earlier this week it was a little bit cool and rainy, so I wore a hoodie. but it's like t-shirt weather right now, and like, you know, sort of a loose top, mostly. It gets pretty humid here in Japan, like hot and humid. So if it's cool, I'll put on a sweatshirt. But for the most part, it's t-shirt weather for me right now. Shank Style says, how about cotton or fabric-based packaging could be reusable?
The thing about the reusability, well, first of all, plastic has its own, you know, it's got a bad rep, but it does protect from, you know, rain and, you know, things that might affect what's inside.
Yeah, it has a durability factor that you definitely want, especially for shipping. Like, you know, we ship everything in the FedEx bags, and mostly everything gets delivered properly, no problem. But every now and then you see a package that looks like it was run over by a truck, and sometimes it breaks through all the layers, but sometimes you'll see it, like the package is ripped, but that second layer of plastic definitely helps protect the garment.
Yeah. So I think, you know, we thought about it, but it's just like again, like you can make an argument either way, but it's nice here. But you know, it's nice to, like, I think at this point in our business, like, you know, having a plastic protection is important.
Yeah. I'm not opposed to, like, I've definitely thought about, like, paper style ones, but you have to, like, it has to be clear so I can see what's inside the bag, right? Because imagine you have, you know, 10,000 t-shirts in your warehouse, and
something could get tagged wrong. We need to visually make sure what's inside is the correct item.
Yeah.
So
at the end of the day, the plastic is recyclable. Definitely put it in the plastic, you know, in your plastic recycles when in.
Yeah, and the like reusability of these individual bags, like, you know, like it's, you know, for a special item, it makes sense. Like, you know, if a like a coat comes in a coat cover, like you use that to store it and, you know, all of that. But like every single t-shirt is going to go into a bag that's like, it's
you could use it as a laundry bag for your travels, I would say.
Yes, but you probably have like a bunch of those already. And, you know, I just feel like that's not gonna actually get reused. Just like the, you know, like shopping bags, sometimes you just pile those shopping bags. It just because you're paying for it, like, doesn't mean like you're actually like reusing it like each time. So I don't know.
Anyhow, we packaging will continue to evolve with us. It's not a one and done, but it is definitely improving from like what we have right now. But yeah, it's like you have to consider like the reason why we have to have things packaged and, like, you know, the usability of it. And it's like, it's one thing to have just like nice boxes and things like that, but you know, if everything's packed up in paper and you can't see what's inside, it could cause a real problem in the warehouse. Connor says, Vicuna, yes, when will you do a release with Vicuna? You know, we talked to the mill about this, and they're like, some years there's none. Like, some years there's some. I'm gonna go out and just say, I'm not gonna say it's impossible.
No.
But I'm gonna say that with something like Vicuna, when you're dealing with like the ultra rare of the ultra rare that's also ultra scarce, it just introduces a whole world of production issues. Whole world of it. And it's just like,
but also, like, I can't, like, currently, like, I don't think we have an option to do that right now. And I don't know if that, you know, that we didn't really, like, pursue that super hard or anything. But there is I think more than a limited supply. That's a very, putting it mildly. So it's, you know, maybe we'll go there someday. Maybe. We're never gonna say never. But
we like premium materials. We love them, but they also have to be usable and available,
and reliable.
Reliably available. So give us time. Okay. let's get into the time. Now, we have a couple. You can pick. You pick. Just go back there. There's like Snowy's really. He's really slobbering all over the place here. Soda, or there's some chips that were a gift from last week. So if you want to grab some of them.
Okay, maybe we'll do quickly both.
Okay.
And
yeah. So we got a nice gift from a visitor here, and come here, so slobbery. And we'll give that a try, and then we also have the unusual flavored sodas from last week, which I'm gonna say they don't excite me because I think they're gonna be gross.
they're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Actually. Ow.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so soda we gotta pick. Jesus, noise.
Yeah, really everywhere. Sorry, son.
Olive, I like the packaging of this a little better. Olive cider.
Yeah.
Olive juice 1%.
Ugh.
Olive from Japan.
Snow, you gotta go down. I gotta
This
wash my hands.
Coriander cola. Call it pakji. It has some pakji essence in this. Don't know what that means, but we'll find out. So drink wise, I think maybe we can put up a poll.
Okay, I'll put up a poll. Hold
Yeah,
on.
so you guys choose which of these weird sodas that you want us to try.
We'll put up the official poll, and then we're gonna try.
And we're gonna try this Ruffles with queso cheese flavor. So it's not just cheese flavor, it's queso cheese. And we got this from our friend,
The Raven.
the Raven. The Raven. From the chat. He was visiting Japan and he brought us a very nice snack gift.
Yeah. So we've got the live poll going on right now. Olive soda or coriander soda to wash down the queso Ruffles, which were, I don't know if these are even available throughout the America, but they were definitely brought from America for us to try. And so I'm looking forward. I've never had this flavor before, but it does sound very fun
Ruffles
and very interesting.
is such a good chip. So,
Yeah.
so the base of the chip is great. So I have high expectations for this.
All snacks are inspired by the authentic flavors of Latin America. And it says, hay un sabor detrás de cada sonrisa. Sonrisa.
I think it means smile.
It means for Risa. So there you have it. That was my best Spanish accents.
Okay.
Okay, so
Wow,
the
this is
poll
very close.
is we're gonna give the poll another minute. BD says olive soda, you coward. Olive soda is behind at 46%. Coriander soda at 54%. It's about 50-50, but not quite. Now it is in fact 50-50.
Okay.
Let's
Guys,
see where
now
this goes.
you have deciding votes, maybe.
So if you're in the chat, throw your name into the poll and let's see what we end up with here. With
Or maybe
the
voters are just like, we stop voting here. It's 50-50
No,
now.
don't stop voting. Keep it going. You gotta vote, right?
You gotta vote.
You gotta vote.
You gotta vote. We're only doing one.
All right. Shank Style says coriander, haha, olive soda from Mr. BD. Shank Style, how about a 50-50 mixed soda?
No.
They're trying for olive soda is taking the lead at 59%. All right, we're gonna give this another. When that reaches the 2-minute mark, which it just did, we're gonna end the poll very soon. Very soon. So get your vote in now.
No. Stay back.
I'm gonna give you 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ding, ding, ding. Voting has closed. We're going to end the poll right now. And the olive soda has taken the lead.
Okay.
Olive soda wins. 61% want the olive soda. It's going to be gross. I'm not looking forward to this one bit. But I am looking forward to these Ruffles queso flavor.
Okay.
You like all? Oh, wait.
I like olive.
Okay.
And I do like this color too. It's a very nice, like sage kind of color. Yeah.
I hope it's gross. BD says. I
hope it's delicious.
Okay, from initial smell.
Nice and green.
Smells.
Oh, it does not smell.
It kind of smells
olive.
like grape.
It smells like grape. Yeah. It smells like apple, actually.
Yeah.
It smells like apple juice, actually. I don't know. I think this is gonna be delicious, actually.
It looks like a potion. A little bit. Okay, I'm gonna give it a try.
Oh, wonderful. I don't taste the olive at all.
I do. It's at the end. A little bit. It kind of tastes like olive oil.
Maybe. It has that, like, a little herb.
Yeah.
Like, plantness.
The carbonation really hits you first, because it's very bubbly. And then...
It tastes like apple soda, no?
Yeah, it tastes more like apple soda, but with a little bit of... I kind of feel that little... I would have a hard time placing this if I didn't know there was olive oil in here. You'd just be like, there's a sort of like a...
Yeah, there's no olive oil in here.
Yeah, olive, but like a bitter something in there at the end.
Yeah, it's like, it's not like as, like, it tastes like apple soda, but it's not like a typical apple soda.
Right.
It's my...
Dang, I was hoping for brine notes. Yeah, it doesn't have brininess to it.
No, not at all. I was expecting that too.
Yeah, I was expecting brine, which is what I was like afraid of.
Yeah, I was excited about that. I do like, I like my martini dirty. I like
see.
that taste, but
Yeah.
I guess this is fine
Yeah.
as is.
Okay, so rating wise on the soda scale, this earns a
This won some kind of a governor's award.
this should not have.
It's not bad though.
It's not bad, but
delicious.
it's not delicious. It's
No?
it's like if it's there and you're drinking it, you're like there's literally nothing else, it's fine. But you'd almost like it's not unconsumable. It's like a 5.5 for me.
Really?
Yeah. It's not great. It is not great.
I would think based on the
It's not yucky.
yeah, based on
Right?
the taste itself, I would give it like 6.4. But in my head, I was expecting olive, so the disappointment factor would bring it down to 6.2 or something like that. It's just like it's fine. It's good, but if it's more interesting tasting, I would have given a higher score.
Yeah, I'm just not feeling it. In concept, it's bad. In delivery, it's interesting. The bottle's okay. I like the bottle. I think the design is all right. The color, I think, is actually quite nice.
Color is the
Color
best
is
part,
nice.
probably. Yeah.
Color's the best part. Taste, I could do without. It's not for me.
All right, now
Okay.
the fun part, the delicious part.
It's a bolsaza, Ruffles queso cheese chips. I've never had these before, but I'm interested to try out. Shankself says, "Hey Bahzad, are you guys still collecting milk glass mugs? I recently picked up some old made in USA glass baked mugs. I think I like it better than Fire King ones I have." Well, we definitely are still collectors. Send me a message. You might be interested in what you got. Interesting. Definitely smells cheesy.
Very cheesy.
Yeah.
Very like.
Yeah. And I have to say to the good people at the Ruffles Corporation, look at that. Everyone is intact.
And this traveled.
This
like-
traveled all over Japan and from America. Every chip intact. Not a broken chip in there. Good for you to the good people at Ruffles. Frito-Lay Corporation. Good job. Look at that chip. Very heavily powdered. And thick.
It's very cheesy
Yeah.
smelling.
All right. This could be the one. It's a high quality chip.
Very cheesy. It's the
And it's got
orange
this-
cheese.
Yeah, and it has that like zesty flavor to it as well. I like this. It has sort of that creaminess to it that you get with like a Ruffles sour cream and onion that I
Yeah.
really like, because a Ruffles sour cream and onion is a top tier chip, by the way. This is a fantastic chip. I would definitely try and have these over and over again. I'm very lucky that these are not available in Japan, because I would be, as they say in Espanol, el gordo. I would not be able to contain myself. These are very good. Yeah.
It does have the taste, like it's not the regular, like cheese flavored chips. Yeah, I like it.
I like it. The Raven celebrating. Great choice for us, sir. I'm very happy with these. Delicious. As far as a score, that's like an 8.4. That's a high ranking chip.
That is pretty high.
It's a high ranking chip for me. Yeah, if you're in the 8s, that's high.
That is high.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would rate this 8. I'm gonna go 7-9.
All right.
But I like it. I can appreciate that like taste
Yeah.
like of this. Like it's very, I don't know. It's tasteful.
Oh.
It's very full of flavors.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing where like I will eat the whole bag in one sitting, no problem. This is easy.
I
And
think for me to be like in the 8s, it needs to have like a seafood taste.
yeah, you like that more. But no, I'm very happy with this. Very, very high in calories. 13 chips, approximately 150 calories.
That's really
That's
high.
a lot. That's a lot of calories. 13 chips, 150 calories. Oh my god, I would be dead.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. BD says, now I want Ruffles. You go and get some Ruffles, okay? Not sponsored by Ruffles, but hey, I like the products that they make. Okay, well there you go, everybody. We're gonna leave it there. It's been fun. It's great hanging out with you guys again. We'll be back again next week for the big one, Miss
Yes.
Sally Fox. We're gonna have a very interesting live stream, so be sure to tune in. Also, in the newsletter that I sent out, if you haven't opened it yet, on Monday there's a live stream of Sally's talk here at the World Expo in Osaka. Of course, you don't have to tune in live, but you can also watch it anytime. The link is in the newsletter. It's at from 5 to 7 p.m. Japan time, so it might not be the most convenient time for many people out there, but open up the newsletter and you can save to watch later,
Yeah.
to watch it anytime. So,
We're gonna be in Osaka, but we'll be back
yep.
for the next live stream, and then Sally will be back in Tokyo as well, and with us.
Yeah.
So yeah, just I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of questions that you guys gonna wanna ask. You can send it to us on Instagram
Yep.
or be here. I think
Yeah.
we would really appreciate it if you are joining in
Live.
live.
That's it. So we'll see you guys then on your way out. Don't forget to hit the like button, and we'll see you guys again real soon. Do something nice for yourselves this weekend. Do something nice for somebody else, and we'll leave you there. All right. Bye, everyone. It's great to see you. All right.